especially if you
Speaking of CJ,
yeah,
I saw someone in the
yeah,
chat was asking, so we got him back
yeah.
on. Nice.
I think CJ was also the Gigabyte guy. Is this guy
Oh,
also CJ?
it's JC. Sorry.
Oh. um, but yeah, that's Eric, and yeah, like compared to there's some online players that are super consistent and do really well. But if you are looking at like only IRL accomplishments and also only like the sort of like bigger circuit events, he is sort of like by far the best.
Like accolades,
Yeah,
at least.
I would say. Um,
Does he travel to a lot of the events as well?
Yeah. Funnily enough, I think one of the other people that could sort of be in that boat, I think Eric's from Chicago, and there's Matt Kalenda, who also, when he was playing a lot IRL, like I think he got like second with BA.
Yeah, I was like, that name sounds really familiar.
He's done well for a while IRL, but in red he won the first Ultimate Time Wizard. It was like the one at Nats
2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then he just won the 3v3 this past the one they did at Vegas this past weekend or 2 weeks ago or something. So he has two Ultimate Time Wizard wins as well, and a bunch of like online wins.
So there's a couple like players that have repeated success in the like more recent times.
There's quite a few, I would say, but it's also only been, especially if you're only looking at like Ultimate Time Wizards and RBTs, which are the bigger IRL ones. Like again, there's like all these random
online. Yeah, but I feel like the online scene was bigger before the IRL.
Yes, but if you're only looking at the IRL ones, really that people are like traveling to and stuff, there really just aren't that many to pick from. There's probably been 30 events.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's only now kind of getting to the point that people have repeated top. It's like if they've done 10 and someone wins 2 out of them, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so especially like, considering it's top 8 for all of them.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So I mean, yeah, like
you guys got for Orlando what, like 500 almost for Oakland?
Oh, I think it was less. I think it was like 250 or something.
Well, you guys got almost 500
for Nats.
For Nats, yeah. Yeah, like that's awesome. That like a side event is getting that. Like at some point, they're just gonna have to be like it's just its own like thing on the side. Like
I think that's why they started doing the separate giant card, because now there's the Ultimate Time Wizard, and then day 2 there's just a single limb. I mean, just
like yeah, for the giant, just like there is for the main event.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I think it's really nice that they're focusing on being like, okay, if you want to come for Edison, you have your tournament, but you also have your side events.
Exactly.
If you scrub out of your main event.
And that's what I did at Orlando. I mean, I like bubbled basically the main event, and then I played the side event. But I mean, but just having that also made it a lot more, worthwhile for me to go.
It's more enjoyable for your weekend, especially so you're just not hanging around day 2, and it's not as big of a like spectacle. And like there's no like huge stream all the time for it, so it's nice to be able to do something.
Totally. Yeah, it's been very cool to watch it grow in that way. I guess, but I mean, he was on stream.
He was on stream earlier. No, I think he was playing Black Wings, or I think it was Vayu actually.
He was playing Vayu. He was
on Top Deck Dad.
Yeah, he beat the Hero Front guy. Yep. Yeah. So it's going to be a Vayu here, which is a matchup that I know very well.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it gets navigated here. I imagine Eric knows this matchup pretty well, so we'll see how his opponent does.
I hope so.
Yeah, I would too after the success he's had.
You never know. Yeah, it is like for a while, and I think still people feel like it's really swingy and really toxic or whatever. But I kind of went in for a little while. Right at the beginning, I felt that way. I was like, this is just like this is a bad mirror. This is like no Escalon mirror. Then after a while, I feel like I had really like nailed my side plan and like
your approach.
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like I'm winning a lot of IU mirrors that I play, and I know how to do this right, and there is some edge to be gained. And now I feel like back to this end, like this again. So I don't know. Nothing really changed, but I'm just like, yeah, no, it sucks.
I think that happens in a lot of formats, and my opinion is more of the like sometimes your losses stand out a lot more than your victories, so they seem to come more often.
Yeah.
And especially like if you're saying you've mastered the mirror, your losses are just going to stick out even that much more. So if 2 or 3 of them happen in a like close period of time, you're going to be like, wow, what happened here? It feels so
Totally.
volatile.
Totally. Well, I think the other factor is like if Vayu is the best deck, right? Which I mean, whatever your opinion on that is, it's like
it's one of them.
It's one of them. And so when I think about my last couple tournaments, like I've lost to like thank you.
I'm
sorry.
All good. Sorry. Yeah, we're good.
But yeah, I've lost to like Vayu and Hero Frog and whatever. And so it's like, yeah, I've like lost to Vayu a couple times, but like that's what would happen. You know what I mean? It's like one of the best decks. It's like
you can't expect to always beat a deck, and it's also a card game.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to be 7 rounds, cutting to top 16 after that.
So JC.
Anything? I don't see anything that seems too interesting here.
I mean, it's
oppressions have been mainly in the side deck as of recent, right?
Yeah, mostly. But it's kind of people have gone back and forth because those decks like Giga and Frog combo decks are getting really popular. But still, I feel like most of the people we've seen do not have it in the main.
Yeah, this feels like a very, very standard list.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I will, because like he's won those 2 things, and like I think a lot of people just hate his list.
Yeah,
so it's like
I imagine that he standardized it. I do have a question: is 2 Kaya standard in a Vayu deck?
I would say it's pretty standard. I would say it's much more common 2 to 3.
Okay,
much. Like people use 3, but yeah, 2 is the standard.
Okay. You just don't want to like clog on it for sure, because I know it's definitely like a very monster heavy deck as opposed to other ones in the format.
Second, it's like can be kind of rough and against the faster decks. And, but I use 3. Like I was on like a double hamster, triple Kaias. Obviously, if you're going first with that.
So this is double hamster, triple Raikou. So like,
he's also, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he's double hamster and charge. That's usually what he plays.
Yeah, he plays charge.
So
he's got Raikou majority of his games.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, this has been more popular lately, so it's like sort of like 6, 3, right? But I would say still probably the majority are on 5. Like
5 with 1 hamster or no charge.
That I feel like is pretty split, but majority charge, like 1 charge, 1 hamster. There's some people that are 2 hamster.
Yeah. No charge.
Yeah, but this has been getting more popular, the 6, and I don't know.
I think the 6 could work. It's just you will eventually see those hands where you have double access to Raikou, and if like you're Raikouing 2 turns in a row, I feel like you're not advancing your game state unless you get lucky off your mills.
It's also just like if you get your mills and then you draw a hamster late, it's better than drawing the charge late if you don't have targets. But like,
yeah, but like you're saying, there's definitely points where like you never want to be setting the hamster after a certain amount of time. It's like I either want to drop a Caius or a Sirocco or one of the dumpers like Armageddon Night Gruffer.
So I mean, this is a great argument to hamster, because if you're ever going first and opening with hamster, it's probably like the best thing you can be doing. Maybe eating them or something. So he has the MST.
High value MST there. On the
exactly. Well, getting to that and then potentially summoning his own Sirocco or armed winging over. Like if he has like I'm not sure exactly what Armus.
I think it was a plague as well.
Yeah.
Which is interesting if you don't want to set up part of this Vayu engine.
I mean, you could just kind of Kai's the Raikou swing over. It's pretty good swing. And like a card like MST here was really
that was nice
helpful.
just to ensure that this play went through.
I feel like a lot of times in game states like this, you like have this pretty good setup like
getting a Caius to stick, I think, is really nice. That's something else I saw while walking around. Just like obviously Caius is going to be in every deck, but just the advantage you have by sticking a Caius and resolving its effect. And what you're talking about, just being under 1,000. I saw Caius go for a game like 3 times.
Yeah.
Let's see. He has, I think it's Torrential, Sirocco, Caius, and 2 unknowns for Eric. Yeah.
One of the reasons
maybe an Armageddon Knight.
But yeah, because one of the reasons they also play the double hamster is because they're playing Sort, so they want sort of additional light access.
Okay, so they want to be able to get to Ryko consistently.
Yeah, Sork is another one that, like, lately I've been feeling like I probably is worth playing because it can be really fucking good in the mirror. Like, and a lot of my recent value losses are like them having Sork and me not playing or like not.
It stops the trickle down or the trickle up, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
From the values, which I think is important. It's a little weird just because there's not enough lights. I feel like reliably. Like yes, you have Ryko and you can get to it consistently, but it's like if you see the Sork at any other point, or like it got Caius, and like that happens, especially if it got off a hamster, you got it off a charge, your opponent just knows it's there.
The good thing is that, it is just always a dark, right? For both Allure and Greffer and Specialing Greffer. But yeah, I mean, I've been pretty on the fence of Sork in general, but lately it's just been so strong in the mirrors from what I've seen that, like, I don't know. I think I probably have to figure out a way to play it. But it goes in waves, there's like times when, like, initially, both maybe back in the day, and when like there was a little more like Edison revival, I feel like there were a lot more hamster Ryko decks, and now there's more frog decks and Gigaplant decks, and just like Diva Hero, like, and like back then, if you were playing all these like kind of grindy, trap heavy flip monster mirrors or whatever, Sork is like not that good because it's kind of slow to set up and like doesn't deal with their set monster,
Yeah,
but
and
now
it's not the biggest body either.
Now, he's going in. I mean, yeah, like if you ever Goyo that Caius and then it sticks around, it's just like, okay, well.
Yeah, and outing that hamster too was huge.
I mean,
and then just not swinging with Goyo. It looks like play around the gores.
JC was sitting there thinking, I hope he doesn't have the Caius. Like,
yeah,
for sure.
And he's been holding that Caius since turn 1. He chose to.
Is that an Icarus?
Heavy Storm, Greffer, Gardra,
Storm. Yeah, I think it is.
We'll see once he discards this.
Yeah, it is.
Icarus attack, yeah.
Does he have an?
He doesn't have another piece.
Yeah, so he actually can't get that Icarus.
Yeah, no, this is looking like it's going to be the end of the game after.
It low key feels like, and I mean, hard to say with hindsight, but like sending that plague turn 1.
Yeah, it
got him off behind on his engine, like
he wasn't able to set himself up to have any like good late game pushes or just like good top decks into another push.
Yeah, like if he had another piece already graved, then this turn gets a lot. Like at least he could answer the board,
Yeah, I think he got too blindsided by wanting to turn on his Caius.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess if he didn't have to play, he would have nailed Caius. He would have gotten more behind.
But I think it definitely was like maybe he focused too much on it, and like the whole game
would have
been different.
This game's over because even if he has the answer to this board, like,
let's see, he's choosing, I guess, the way to respect Mirror Force.
Yeah, basically,
because like
trenchling on the trooper, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Unless he's trying to outplay, but. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, we know it's Icarus.
Yeah, I feel
so he's playing around with force.
This is threatening with the
It should be because
Yeah,
it
well,
looks
he's a
like he's
Gardner.
at 42.
Oh, he just needed two. Well, he needed two bigger bodies because he had the Gardner.
Yeah.
Like he needed that to clear. And then he sort of playing through a prison by doing it because if he had.
Yeah, he's playing through Gardner Prison by doing it this way.
I think this makes sense.
And then also playing through Mirror Force.
At first, I was like, "What?" Yeah, but I think I can Gardner plus.
Yeah, like in this position, I don't know what card can be drawn to. Yeah, I don't think there's one like Pot of Greed into 2 Pot of Greeds, maybe. Yeah, Heavy
maybe
Storm
Burial
Gales.
Health. Oh well, the Icarus. Well, actually, I mean, half either the Caius or the.
He's just at 17 is the only issue.
Oh yeah. Exactly. If you're Eric, you're like, okay, sure, kill me, go ahead, whatever.
Yeah, battle phase. That's fine.
Yeah, doesn't matter at all. Wasn't Mirror Force last turn.
Oh, he has Burial in his hand too. Yeah, he just has follow up as well. And he his Burial puts back his Plague too, so he gets access to a tuner after that.
Oh yeah, then it's super game. Because also like he's probably just thinking about like if JC said it's like return or his own burial. Yeah, it's just great. It's just game. It's just Omega game. Like.
Like he goes for a Stardust, maybe if that's what he's scared of. Like if he's scared of like defending.
I mean, he can.
It's not Mirror Force. He would have got a Mirror Force last turn.
I think it's like you go for a Stardust in like the chance that he blocks somehow, then and you have it on the crack. Like you then you can't lose if you have Stardust.
And then he just makes some armor here, right? Level 7.
Oh, that's just game over those.
Trooper just swings for games.
I think Colossal. I don't really understand that. I mean, Colossal was probably he's at 17, so probably the Colossal was at least 3K. Over. But he could have just made it.
Could have been anything. Yeah, it could have been anything. But yeah, nothing crazy coming in here. So this is one thing I want to ask you. Signing the 1 Dark Gruffer, is that something he started? Is that a trend that's been around for a while?
You know, actually, credit where credit's due. I think Eric might say the same thing. They have really big like locals in Chicago. They have like a monthly in Chicago that it's like 80 people or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So as far as like that's also been interesting, like outside of the Ultimate Time Wizards or the RBDs or whatever. I mean, now there's like this sort of like middle point. Like so they've been having these, and he on his YouTube channel, everybody goes. I'm sure everybody that is here already knows, but Sizzle, Sack Phase Yu-Gi-Oh. He does really good coverage of these things. Like he posts the deck list and everything. There was a guy that I believe he topped one of them. It was a little while ago, but and he was citing. It was like 3rd Greffer, 1 Elfin, and like Eradicator EEV or something like and deck dev or something. So he's like, yeah, if I'm going first, then I can side into this package, whatever, and just have this like virus turbo thing going. And that kind of was the first I had seen doing that. Joe Dietrich, and. I mean, I don't know if I got the idea from him, but I remember seeing that and talking about it with my team and being like, "Is this a good idea?" And so, but he won. I think he won Orlando recently. Eric did with signing the 3rd Greffer. So, yeah, I mean, I think he popularized it.
It's just interesting. It's like seeing an engine card in the side deck. It's not like uncommon nowadays, but I feel like back then, I feel like definitely not the most common thing in the world.
Definitely. I've been sort of trying to think about that. That's like not often the way I build decks, but I've been trying to kind of like think more whether that's a good option when I'm building decks now. But I think I can't tell if I like it or not because it kind of just like way earlier we were talking about 3 Grepher versus 2. When you open 2 Grepher, it's so fucking bad. Like it's just so bad.
Yeah, and at least you can pitch one off the other, but it's not great for sure.
And I feel definitely in some matchups, and I mean this is the argument, like in faster matchups and when you really need that like turn 2 play and whatever, like, but you're not always like immediately trying to Grepher them, you know? Like you want to use your Rykos first anyway. Like, and then you use your targeted mills. Like,
Yeah.
so the idea of like I want to see Grepher as quickly as possible, it's like, well, I don't even necessarily want to summon Grepher if I see it as quickly as possible. So it's a little dicey, but oh well.
Oh, this is a good hand.
Send Caius, so he's letting himself get decked if he wants to.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sirocco Plague, Rhoda, and then what was the spell?
Sirocco, Armageddon Knight, Rhoda.
Sirocco, Armageddon. And then the spell was Rhoda, and then what was the other spell?
I feel like it was
Storm? Storm, yeah.
Yeah, heavy and then virus.
That is a good hand to get Dust Shooting with, I would say. But also, like, it would scare me if he didn't take Sirocco. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like look at the way he's just looking up at him. It's a little menacing at times.
And it's also tough here because it's like this is especially tough when they know you have the deck dev, and so you probably just have to shotgun it because. Oh, he hits behind. He has a Lila.
Okay.
He keeps the oppression in also.
Interesting. So his hand's kind of dead.
He has the bottom, yeah, because he has the storm. I mean, his hand wasn't that good in the first place, but I do kind of wonder. I mean,
I forgot he had.
Yeah.
He had a graveyard.
He had 2 Sirocco.
Yeah.
This is dealing 4, but he can crack this.
Yeah, like this isn't game ending at all.
No, it's in fact kind of because he can just storm.
This is kind of an open game right now because all cards are known.
Yeah, but I mean, from Eric's perspective, like he just storms the back row and then can go either Brio or his own armed like.
I think it was a Bora.
It wasn't. He didn't play
A value would be kind of nice. Combo with the Grepher.
Yeah, exactly. That would be great. I mean, he has a couple ways to crack here. I mean, absolute worst case too.
Cards, right?
Yeah, absolute worst case too. He could Armor for Plague, stack, make Brio, bounce the Armed Wing, attack over the Lila. But if he drew the value 2, which I think he did, then he can go a little harder and go like. Yeah, he drew value. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's like Grepher pitch value, send Plague, or you could send Plague, then you. This is tough to go back from. He's underdecked too.
Yeah, so like all the cards are gonna be. Yeah. It's looking like this game's gonna be over just as quickly as the first one.
I mean,
and sometimes like you just look at the difference in the power of those hands.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think if he didn't send the Sirocco, then what does Eric do? Like if he if he did send the Sirocco, didn't send the Caius, like then he's just like summon Arma, send a Gardner or something. You know what I mean? Like
send graveyard card, hope to draw a value card next turn, keep Arma, maybe tribute for Caius.
And he doesn't really have a good way to like deny that Caius.
He can't stop the Caius unless he swings over, and if he just sends Gardner like he was going to.
I think you're probably like. I mean, you could easily just go Stardust Armor Master here. I'm trying to think if Thought Ruler might be better,
but what cards does he know in his hand right now?
He stormed the bottomless, so I believe it's Oppression, Grepher. Oppression, Grepher. Greffer.
Yeah, like I don't know
for sure has a Freddy Greffer.
but I don't know what else like would matter. Make another 6.
But then if he's like taking Lila, then he's milling the arm off the top, and you really want armor.
I think the arm was the best card for his follow up to send another value.
Oh well, he doesn't have another value engraved, so I was actually tripping. I was thinking that he could still make another synchro. So maybe you could also make Dark End. Yeah, hold on. You could make Dark End. Well, it was intact. The play was intact, but he's gonna synchro it off anyway, doesn't it? I think I might be telling him he has to.
Yeah, I imagine he's gonna synchro some, but he's just gonna have to.
Oh, I'm just saying. I think they might have been telling him he had to synchro.
Yeah, I think it's part of
It's been ruled.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's head judge dependent on which way they want to rule it when like cards go to the graveyard.
So I think actually you wouldn't take the Lila. I think you would just swing over and keep the body.
Yeah, I think you just swing over both of them and then pass, right?
Because also if he draws a dark and he tries to do like Greffer and Plague, stack one, he'll only have one more card in hand to pitch for Brio. So then you would use all his cards and you're still drawing.
And he's not able to go bring this back, right?
Right,
because it wasn't successfully summoned.
That's why like it's tempting to take the Lila because you can't, but
there's no reason to. Especially because he knows his Armageddon Knight's there, and that's a card he's like
the best card you can draw here.
Yeah, like once he adds to your field, the Armageddon Knight becomes so much stronger too.
Yeah, I think what he might have been thinking about too is like or what might have been better in my mind, I guess, is like
looks like they're having a small life point dispute, so making sure everything goes.
Yeah, maybe this is fine actually. Like he could have Dark End swing over the Armed Wing, and then main 2 pop the Lila, but
53 to 4,000.
that gets hit. And so now it's just kind of curtains because you have a dark fish on the thing. What's the spell name?
Was it MST?
Yeah, I want to say.
I'm unsure.
Yeah, I'm remembering MST. Sure.
let's say it was that one. I just don't know what.
But he knows all the cards, and Goyo's gonna. Yeah. It's just
like every card is known right now. Like he knows none of those cards do anything.
Goyo's taking the Greffer too.
Like, can't he oppression the Greffer or the Goyo?
It's damage.
So if the oppression's face up already, would it be able or no? So you can't oppression or sure attacking either. No wonder the black one deck has such a good matchup into oppression.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cooked.
Yeah,
that won't do it.
That's not gonna save you.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could be like, yeah, and like master